going to talk about the 7 principles of persuasion. What are 7 things you need to do if you want to be more persuasive as a speaker, as a parent, as a leader, whatever sphere? What are 7 things you need to learn? I'm just going to talk about these things very briefly. The first one is that you have to desire to connect. Desire to connect. Let's take, for example, a mother trying to correct a son or trying to tell a son about a course of action. Now, and before then, what you have demonstrated as a mother, you haven't really connected with your child. You haven't really bonded with him, bonded with her. If it's your daughter, you haven't connected with him or her. And then you have a course of action. You're trying to offer counsel. You haven't connected. There's a likelihood that you won't be persuasive. That your daughter won't listen to you, your son won't listen to you. So as a leader, whoever you are, connect first with your team members, connect first with your employees, connect with them before you begin to tell them about the vision. There has to be a process of connection. And how do you connect? You connect by building rapport. Building rapport with your team members, with your friend, with your audience, very important. So for example, you're a leader, how do you build rapport? You build rapport, first of all, by listening to people. Listen. Listening is very important. Authentic listening. Now, listening is different from hearing. I mean, hearing is a biological stuff. I mean, just somebody talks to you and you can hear with your ears. But that's different, entirely different from listening. Listening skill is perhaps a very major skill in communication. So learning to develop listening skills helps you to build rapport towards making you connecting with that person you're trying to persuade. How else do you build rapport? You build rapport by asking questions. Ask the person questions. Ask questions about what they do. Connect with them. Before you tell them anything you want to sell or something you want to change about their personality or anything, connect with them. Get to know them. Connect with them. Another way we build rapport is with your body language. Show that you're interested in what they're doing. Show that you are interested in themselves. No, don't come with a critical comment or ask them how they're doing and all of that. With doing that, you're building rapport. You're seeking to connect. So that's the first principle. Desire to connect with people. Before you tell them anything, desire to connect, first of all. Secondly, and the second one is closely related to the first. And what is that? Seek people's interest. Very important principle in persuasion is that most people just they want to sell their idea. They want to pass across information. They are not interested in whatever you have to say. You have to be interested in people. If you really want to persuade them, you have to really be interested in their interest. For example, you're trying to woo a girl and you don't know anything about what the girl does. You have not found common ground. I mean, you don't find anything that you can have a conversation with. You have to initiate conversations, and you can only initiate conversations if you have sought the person's interest. Know what they do. If the person likes to sing, for example, have conversations around singing. Have things that you can talk about. So when you move from building rapport, then you now go to connecting with them based on their interests. You know some of their interests, the things they're interested in. And that's why this famous quote goes to us that it says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you need to show that you care about people. I mean, if you're trying to woo a girl, and that example keeps coming to mind because that's a common thing. You guys want to, you need to, before you go to shooting your shot or saying anything, bond with her, get to know her. What are her interests? What are the things, when you have conversations down on the phone, what are the things, chat with her, and by that time, you have already connected, you've already bonded, you know about her interests. And before you don't say anything, she's in a better frame of mind to listen to you. Same thing in leadership. You are trying to lead your team into a course of action. The first thing, bond with them, seek their interests, know the different things they do, know about their family, let them see that you are concerned about them. Before you even cast a vision for the company, before you even say anything, bond with them, go on retreats. That's why retreats are very important. You get to bond with your team members. If you're a team lead, you're your departmental unit head or a departmental head, connect with people, and it will be easier for you to persuade them. Whenever you have a goal to pursue anything or any objective you have set for yourself, a target, when you connect with people, there's a stronger likelihood that you're going to persuade them. That's number 2. Now, number 3. I mentioned this already in the 3 styles. You have to appeal to logic. If you're a leader, if you're a parent, if you're anything, you have to make sense. Now you're trying to lead people to a right course of action. We need to see that you have done your research. You need to invest in R&D. We live in a world where the average person doesn't like reading now. And this is an information age. There are lots of information out there. I mean, and if you want to sell or communicate an idea, there are many things you can use to back it up. You're a preacher, you want to sound persuasive, there are many things you can cite. Don't just focus on the Bible and that's what you are quoting to us. Let's see how what you're saying connects to our daily life. Borrow insights from the economy, borrow insights from music, from movies you watch online and all of those things. With doing that, you are bringing facts to the table. Substantiate your facts. Use testimonials. But remember, don't lie. When you're trying to persuade people and you're trying to appeal to their logic, don't bring something else that is a lie, and because you're trying to persuade them. Logic is very important. Appeal to logic. And that is very applicable when you're selling a product. Let's see all the things you've done. Let's see all the stats. Let's see all the effort you put into creating that product. Let's see all those things. I mean, Barack Obama once said that he won his election based on his facts, based on reason and based on logic. That's what made him win the election. He brought all the facts to the table. Look at what I've done in Harvard. Look at what I've done here. As a lawyer, look at the things I've done. And people believed him, not just emotion. There's a place for emotion, but at this stage, you want to bring all the facts to the table. You want to, what are facts? Facts are things known to be consistent with objective reality and can be proven to be true with evidence. So you bring evidence to the table. That's what a lawyer does in the court of law. It brings all the evidence. And so when you're doing that, you're bringing evidence to the table. You are, in an advert, for example, you are bringing all the evidence. You have seen, in your CV, you can see you have done this thing for 16 years. You are bringing your record and all these things. Those are things that make people, you appeal to people's logic. That's number 3. Number 4 is closely related to, I already mentioned it in the style. And what is that? It is appealing to emotion. Definitely, this is very important, which was the pathos I mentioned. Number 4th principle in persuasion is appealing to emotion. That's what people do in before and after stories. For example, you're trying to talk about something you've achieved. Let's see the before and after. And when you see the before, there's this emotional feeling we have. And by the time we see the after, we have the, oh, wow, this is fantastic. That's a strategy you can deploy. In leadership, for example, you appeal to the emotion. When you are trying to chart a course for the future and you have appealed to their logic, let's see the emotional angle to it. What advantage? What is the advantage of this vision? How would it benefit the members of staff? What is this goal you are pushing us to achieve? How will it make us feel at the end? You have to paint a picture of a better future in a way that it appeals to their emotion. Use human interest stories. And that's why when presidential candidates, especially in the US, when they get to talk, they tell stories. Because stories have a way of appealing to the emotion. So as a leader, as a parent, you're trying to convince your child about something. Don't just give orders and just give laws. Tell a story. Tell your child about something that happened to you when you were 17. Tell a story about something you read online. As a preacher, narrate stories. Those are the things that make you able to appeal to people's emotions. Determine the feeling you want to evoke and then back it up with stories. Don't just put all the facts, because people are both logical and emotional beings. And so if you want to persuade people, you need to balance both logic with emotion. Don't be too emotional and then all you are doing is just telling stories and people are sharing tears, but there are no facts to substantiate it. And then don't be so logical and all you're just giving additional facts, but there's a balance. So appeal to logic after you've connected with them, after you've sought their interest, appeal to their logic, then appeal to their emotion. And then you now take it a step further. Number 6, paint pictures. Imagination is very important. Now there's a principle in story writing called show, don't tell. I mean, you can show people something and don't tell. For example, you want to say, that man is wicked. Don't just say he's wicked. Let us see how wicked he is by some of the things he did. Let's describe in your book how he slapped somebody. Describe in your book how he shot somebody. With those descriptions, we can now see that this person is a wicked person, rather than just tell us he's a wicked somebody. So when you paint pictures, we're able to see. And this works well for leaders, for public speakers, for consultants. You're trying to persuade somebody, you're trying to speak, and all you're just reading now, this is the definition. This is it. But you're not telling us stories. You're not painting pictures. Leaders should paint pictures of a future that is better. And so by the time you are communicating that vision, let us see pictures. You can even put up pictures out there. Put up pictures. Let's see. You're trying to, you're a leader of a country, a leader of Nigeria, for example. Put up pictures of some of the things you want to do. Let us see how that future looks like. So that people, you are connecting to their imagination. You can use metaphors. I mean, if you are a literary person, you can use metaphors. And metaphors go a long way in helping to paint a better imagination of the future. And then invite your audience. Invite your audience into a process. As you are appealing to their imagination, you are painting a picture into their imagination, you are appealing to a place or a part of them that wants to succeed, that wants to make it. You are painting a picture of their imagination, you are getting them to think about the future, you are getting them excited and all of those things. So it's not just logic, it's not just paper and they're just looking, these are the things we want to do. And it's not just emotion, they're not just emotional about it. You are appealing to their imagination. They can see it, they can picture it. Your child, for example, you're trying to tell your child to study and do all of these things, and you have said, these are the reasons why you should study. That is logic. And then you put out emotion. These are the if you study well, I'll be happy. That's an emotion. emotional part. But now you want to paint pictures. You want to show the child, can you see what this person did? Look at this person. Look at what he did when he was 7. Can you see how this person is now? So you are painting a picture. You are painting a picture. You're making that child see something better. Very important. This is important in leadership for people that are public speakers, people that are novelists, people that are movie producers, you are film. You have to paint a picture. That's number 5. Number 6 is that you have to harness your enthusiasm. Passion is very critical. A famous writer once wrote that a combination of enthusiasm and organization can sell anything. That means if you have a product and you want to sell a service you want to present to a client or to an audience, you have to combine 2 things. Number 1, you have to organize it, package it very well and all of those things. But then the second thing is that in your delivery and your presentation of that product or that service, there has to be passion. There has to be enthusiasm. I mean, for example, you are trying to sell me a perfume and you bring the perfume and say, this thing is good. Try it. It's a good perfume. I used it the last time. Person will just be looking at you because there's no passion, there's no enthusiasm. But if you come and say, wow, this is a very good, I use it, and you demonstrate passion. Your voice, your tone, and how do we see passion? We see it in your voice, we see it in your facial expression, we see it in your body language. That is passion. Harness your enthusiasm, communicate passion. Get the right facial expression. You're a public speaker, for example, you're trying to convince somebody, or you are contesting for a position in the office and all that, and you're supposed to present a speech, and you're just there calmly and all that. No, you can't persuade the audience like that. We need to see passion. Passion is fire. In anything, you have to have passion. In your delivery, you have to have passion. And that's why, I mean, anybody, you can see all the, some of our actors, people that have excelled well in their delivery, in their creativity. What you see more than anything is passion. They are passionate about what they're doing. They commit themselves to it. They don't just have all the facts. When they stand, you see a musical performance, an artist performing on stage. What you see is passion for the craft. Passion in their delivery. So number 6, this is a very important principle. Harness your passion. You're trying to convince a friend about something. You have to be passionate. If not, that friend would not believe you. Passion is very important, and that's enthusiasm. That's number 6. Then the last one is consistency. Consistency. You have to master consistency. For example, let's say you're a tailor, or let's say you're a photographer, and you have a social media page, your Facebook, on Twitter and Instagram, and we always see you post about photography. That's what you post and all that. That's consistency. But let's say now you just decide one day you post about movies. You now post about tailoring one other day. There's no consistency in your... So by the time you are trying to now persuade another person about something else, they say, but which one are you doing? We really can't tell what you're doing. There has to be consistency in your message. There has to be consistency in the things you are churning out. People need to see that this is what this guy is focused on. Consistency is very important in being persuasive, because it's not just you trying to bring all the facts, bring all the emotional things to it and say, oh, believe me. No, people have to have seen all the things you've done. And so your consistency over time, as you will learn in creativity, consistency you have over time, you would see that after 16 years, after several years of doing things, you enter into a flow, and by the time you get into that flow and you begin to deliver, you'll be more persuasive. You'll be more persuasive. People will just like, even before you get on stage, even before you perform, you'll be more persuasive. So consistency, very critical skill. Stay on the same thing, maintain the same message, keep saying the same thing. So by the time an opportunity comes to you or presents itself to you for you to demonstrate or show something, you are consistent. People already know this person is an authority because they see you say those things every time. They see you post those things every time. They see you say the same things. As a leader, you have to be consistent. As a parent, you can't say one thing today, another thing is another thing you're saying. But if your child already knows that this message, this is the message my father always, this is the same thing, he's a principled man, there's consistency in the message. So by the time you as the parent or the father want to tell your child something, there's evidently the child will believe you without stress, because they have seen and noticed a pattern of consistency. Consistency is very important in being persuasive. So you have to be flexible, and consistency is also connected to flexibility. You can't be consistent in the wrong thing. When you see that trends are changing, when you see that things are evolving, you have to adapt. I mean, in the training on adaptability, you will learn how to adapt. In being consistent, don't just stay on the same thing. For example, I mentioned about photography. I mean, if you're a photographer and you keep posting the same thing, but you're posting content or information that is old, something from 2012, but things have evolved, things have changed, but you have not learned from your field. So in trying to be consistent, you have to know the information of the age. Be flexible, make adjustments. You have to adapt and all of that, and then you now stick to that same message. After a while, when that message is stale, you tweak it again, adjust it. So you have to keep making adjustments. Keep the information before your audience. Let them keep seeing it on social media. That's a major place where people play now. So you have to maintain the same message. That is what consistency. So, and that's something you do in trying to develop a persuasive brand. Let's say you have a brand, I mentioned photography, but whatever brand. When you see people, all these top companies, Apple, for example, all these people, they have a consistent message. They have something they say consistently. And that's why their brand is persuasive. Anytime you take an iPhone, you see an iPad and all that, there has been consistency over the years. Consistency makes you more persuasive. And so those are the 7 principles of persuasion. Number 1, once again, is that you have to desire to connect. Let people know that you love them, you're interested in them. Build rapport. What you do in connecting with people is to build rapport. And I mentioned listening. Listen to people. Ask the right questions. And then your body language has to show that you're interested in people. Number 2 is that you have to seek people's interests. Connect with them, know what they are doing. You are trying to put a message across there and you have an audience you want to sell the message to. Know what they do. Who are your target audience? What are the things they do? Seek people's interests. You are more likely to create something that is persuasive if you know the person you are trying to sell that message to. If you know them very well, you know their likes, you know their dislikes, you seek the right time, you know the things they are interested in, you persuade them because you will factor in you put all those things into consideration when you are preparing a persuasive message. And then number 3, appeal to logic. Get all the facts. Get all the data. Invest in R&D. That's why companies invest in R&D, because they want to, by the time they deliver and present that product to the public, they want you to see that this is the best. We've done all our data. They cite World Economic Forum. They cite Harvard. They say all these things. I say this is a professor in this industry for the past 18 years and all of that. Those things, they appeal to logic. And then, of course, appeal to emotion. When you're presenting something, there has to be an emotional element to it. Tell stories. Talk about family life a lot, gets people a lot. Stories about family, story about love, all those things get people a lot. So appeal to emotion. You can get people angry, you can get people afraid, whatever it is, your emotion you're trying to inject into your persuasive element, but there has to be an emotional angle to it. Then number 5, paint pictures. Whatever you're saying, let's be able to imagine it. You shouldn't use just data and all those things. Let's be able to conceptualize in our brain. Let's paint a picture of the future. Appeal to our imagination. That's something that will make you more persuasive. And then number 6, enthusiasm. Let's see passion. In your delivery, in your activity, let's see passion. In your explanation, in your trying to convince your audience, let's see passion. You can't just be weak and you're just going all about and just saying your point and you're just there. Let's see passion. Then lastly, consistency. Stay on the same message. Keep making adjustments where it's important, but stay on the message. Those are the 7 essential principles of persuasion. I hope you learned something vital. Check out the next class.